welcome to Teach Tech Play. This is episode 41 and this is our 4th birthday episode. So we're really excited to be bringing you another great episode with some educators from around the world sharing what they do in their classroom. Now, I would like to congratulate last month's winner, which was Dan Summerland, who presented how his school is using Seesaw. So well done to Dan for last month. And make sure if you miss this episode that you go onto our website and you can see it there. Now, before I introduce all our speakers, make sure that you do vote for your favorite presenter. So I'll just pull up the voting slide now. So everyone should see that. So if you just go to teachtechplay.com/web show, that is where you can vote for your favorite presenter. And voting is open for 1 week, and then we'll announce it via our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter accounts. So for today's show, we have got some fantastic educators, and I'll get them to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about what they do and where they're from. So first I might have Adrian. Do you want to say hello to everyone?
Oh, that's better. How's that? Good.
Perfect.
Cool. I'm
Adrian.
That's fantastic. I'm in Adelaide, South Australia, and I am a digital trainer with Using Technology Better. I've been working with them for a couple of years.
Perfect. Thank you, Adrian. And I've known you for a few years, and we've had you before on the show, and you always amaze me with what you do. And same with the Using Technology Better team. We've had a range of your colleagues on the show who present a range of interesting things that we sometimes forget about. So it's great to have you.
Thanks.
Next up, I'll have Emma. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Just make sure you unmute yourself. Yep.
Hi, I'm Emma. I'm from Melbourne and I teach at a girls' school. So I'm teaching year 4 this year, and I'm also deputy head of junior school. I love IT. Just finished my master's in knowledge networks and digital innovation last year. So I'm really excited to use my skills this year.
Perfect. Thank you, Emma. And I know you and I go back a few years. Your sister and I actually went to high school together. So It's great to connect and have you here. And I know that we had you present at the Teach Tech Play conference earlier in the year, and your session was a big hit. So great to get you on the show. Next up, all the way from the US, we have John. So John, do you want to say hello?
Yes, hi, I'm John. I'm teaching in the U.S., Delaware, and I'm a 4th grade teacher, and very excited to be here. Been watching for several episodes, so glad to be here.
Perfect. And John, you're one of our the people on Twitter who always reaches out, and we can see some great things that you're doing. So we're excited to have you on the show today for you to share. And that goes out to everyone else who is on Twitter who does watch the show as well. Just reach out to us if you've got something you want to share or want to be part of the show. Would love to get you on. So just reach out to me or the Teach Tech Play team and we'll get you on. And last but not least, we have got Zeina, who is a good friend of the show. So good to have you back here, Zeina.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm Zeina from Sydney. I'm also Zeina from Aussie Ed, and we're good friends with Teach Tech Play. So it's always nice to come back home and hang out with you guys. So thanks for having me.
No problem. And we were lucky to have you at the conference a couple of years ago, which was great. And also Brett, and I know he's off at ISTE at the moment. So you're picking up for the Aussie Ed team. So excited to have you here.
Do what you gotta do.
Exactly right. So for today's show, each presenter will be sharing something interesting, and we'll go through the schedule with everyone. Make sure that you do reach out to all presenters via Twitter or other social media networks. And if you have any questions and can't get a hold of them, just reach out to me and I'll put you in contact, because that's what Teach Tech Play is all about, connecting educators with people who have questions and could also learn something that they could take back to their classroom. So today we have first up Emma, and Emma will be sharing with us how bringing history to life using the Voyage Game. So Emma, let me know when you are ready and I will start the timer.
Okay, I think I'm good to go.
Perfect.
Let's get that out of the way. Can you see this? That's okay. You can just see my whole slide?
Yep, correct.
Nothing else? Beautiful. Okay, fantastic. All ready to go. Wow, the Voyage Game. I was really excited when I came across the Voyage Game. I've done a bit of study into digital game-based learning, and one of the great ways of using digital games in the classroom is to find games that have already been created and look at how you can embed those within the curriculum. The Voyage Game is actually created by the National Maritime Museum in Australia, and it's free to access for all educators. We love that as teachers. And in the Voyage Game, you are the surgeon superintendent in charge of getting convicts to Australia from England. And the way that you need to do that is you need to make all the decisions that somebody would make in transporting convicts. So you have to actually make sure you can get all of your convicts not only to Australia, but to Australia in a really good condition and not kill any of your convicts along the way. So you actually start off by choosing everything. So you choose the superintendent, and you choose the ship. You actually choose all of the supplies that go on board your ship. Which actually comes in very importantly later on when your convicts start to get sick and you start to realise that, hang on, I do need some of these things to make sure that my convicts can get to Australia happily and healthily. It also teaches students about navigating the globe. So you actually have to click and move the ship the whole way around, which can be quite confusing at times because lots of little games within the game pop up as you are playing. So you need to even stop the ship. They actually bring a little game up. So you actually have to select all the supplies and then you have to put them in the right spot on the ship and make sure that they don't get wet and they don't get eaten by rats and all of those sorts of things. As they go through the game, the girls and boys can check what their supplies are like, how their convicts are going. They can see whether or not, so this is the example of stacking the ship on the game. You have to actually move everything. You can choose your convicts. This is a good point of discussion with students amongst, which parts of the game are based on fact and which parts are fiction, because of course you couldn't choose exactly who your convicts were back in the day. Then this is an example of navigating. So you can click the little cross and navigate your boat around. Then you can manage and inspect things at all times throughout your journey. So there's about 5 different aspects. So you've got the mood and health of the convicts that you have to manage, as well as your supplies, as well as your logbook, which is down in the corner that you can actually click on, and it records all of the different steps that you've taken along your journey. This is an example of one of the games. So there's 3 little built-in games that are really fun for the kids to play.
1 minute.
So this is we have to kill all the rats. So I actually recommend, if you're doing this one, to use an iPad. It's much, much quicker and easier to kill the rats with the iPad. There's also one we have to catch fish along the way to help up your supplies for the convicts. You have to wash the convicts' clothes to stop the spread of disease and things as well. Top tips for educators using this game: log in to the settings down the bottom at the start. Teach your kids how to save and turn on autosave, because it can be very frustrating if the screen freezes and things along the way if it's not saved. And you can also speed up the time during the day, so you can actually get through things within a lesson. What I loved most about this game is actually that it promoted collaboration amongst students. So we started off by giving the students just go off and play independently and then take notes, and that automatically escalated into students saying, oh, I want to play this at home, I want to play with my friends, oh, come over here quick, I'll teach you how to do that. No, you can't do that. You don't treat scurvy like that. You actually need to go and get all of these different supplies on your boat to make sure that your convicts are healthy and get to Australia. It's actually kids emailing me going, okay, Miss Hinchliffe, I went home and I declared it at home and I finally got to Australia. It took me 4 days, but I got there. And really, it's got a low percentage chance of actually winning the game, but the kids still stayed really motivated. So, yeah, that was my experience with the Voyage Game.
Fantastic. Emma, if you want to just stop sharing your screen and then we can have a little chat. It's amazing what resources are out there. I think that this is one that now that I'm looking at it, I know that my year 4 team just sort of did a similar unit, and that would have been perfect for them.
Yeah.
But, now that I know about it, I can take that back to my staff. And this is something that, John may not be really able to connect to it being in the US, but I know Australian teachers, even year 6s and year 5s, it's something that, if we can teach students through games, it really helps them engage with the learning and understand it a lot better. So really well done. Were there any other questions? No. Adrian? No?
I was going to say, how long does a typical game go for? Does it go for a long time, or can the kids smash it out in a couple of lessons?
Yeah, so if you turn the time onto the quickest speed, you can get through it in a lesson, depending on how well they manage their convicts. Some of them don't manage them very well, and they will play multiple games within the session, whereas others will pretty much almost get there and take it home and sort of finish it off that way. But yeah, it was really, a really great way to bring history to life in my classroom this year.
And the accounts for it, you said, are free. They don't need to sign up with an email or anything?
It's completely free. It just sort of saves where you're at on your device.
Perfect.
So it's really easy to use for educators, and it's a lot of time and effort's being put into it. It's got teacher resources and links to historical information on their website as well, so it's really easy to navigate and talk about that sort of fact versus fiction and how they created the game if you wanted to use it to explore game making in your classroom as well.
Perfect. Thank you for that. I know that will be very handy for many upper primary teachers, and even sometimes some secondary teachers who are looking at that, particularly history teachers. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Next up, we have John. And John, you'll be sharing with us FlipGrid. And I know there have been big announcements the last couple of weeks about FlipGrid, which is very exciting. So I'm not going to say anything, and I'm going to leave it up to you to share the new announcements, which I know educators are going to love if they haven't already heard about it.
Okay.
And let me know when you're ready, and I'll start the timer.
Okay. Go. Yeah. Sorry, I have my son here, so.
That's all right.
I am good to go. The big announcement that Eleni was just saying is that FlipGrid just teamed up with Microsoft, and now it's 100% free. And before, you could get one grid and do some things for free, but then you had to pay for more or get like a discount or something. But now it's 100% free. Go. Okay. All right, so FlipGrid, if you don't have any idea of what FlipGrid is, it's a video response platform, which basically allows you to record videos and respond to each other in the classroom or even teachers. So I'm going to quickly... It's a lot to do in 4 minutes, so I'm going to just jump right into it. Basically, what I've done to get everyone started, you want your students to be able to talk and be comfortable with speaking. So you kind of want to get them to introduce themselves and do like an introduction FlipGrid. And basically, it's a video beginning of the year introductions. So this is what it'll look like for the students, basically. And you can have a video or even just a picture that represents the same topic or that goes along with the topic. And then you have your description of what you want them to do or their prompt, basically, like a writing prompt, a speaking prompt. And they go ahead and reply. So I have video, but to save time, it's me basically saying, hi, I'm your teacher for the year. And I actually sent this out to students and parents about a week and a half before school started, before I ever saw them, and I was new to the school, and I had 50 students last year, and 36 out of 50 before school even started responded, so we were already talking and replying to each other, and they were sharing a little bit about themselves like this. Hopefully you can hear it. It loads. It might take too long. All right, take too long. But basically, I was able to start meeting the students a lot sooner than I would have if I waited for the first day of school to then introduce myself and them to introduce them to me, to ask them, what's your favorite color? What does your dog like to eat? Like that boy was saying, my dog eats everything. So it kind of introduces just them being comfortable with getting in front of the camera. And then we started going a little bit more in depth, focusing on academics. The ideas are endless on what you can do. I even did a Genius Hour project and had them do Genius Hour commercials Trying to find it. Genius Hour introduction. So they did commercials to promote their Genius Hour. So when we had a show, everyone knew, oh, I saw this commercial. I want to go see their presentation. So they focused on that, which was a lot of fun for the students. So to get right into it, don't have a lot of time. To cut down on time, I already created a grid.
1 minute.
To show you how to set it up. Basically, you go to, once you go in, which is free, to add grid, and it needs a name. I just added that in, save time. This is the description, like what's the purpose of this. It gives you a grid code, or you can make your own, which is helpful because I use that for stories and such, to keep things on track. All of them require a password now, and a great thing is you can moderate these once you have topics. So here's that update grid, and that'll be the grid, but you have to add a topic as well. When you're doing topics, same thing, you do a picture or a video, and I just did a quick video saying hi, and inside it, in the background, there's my title. You can set a time, 15 seconds to 5 minutes. I like to make it short, 15 seconds, 1 minute, to get them to think quickly, give me the information if I want them just to do the job and answer the question. But if they're doing presentations or something recorded, like on Screencastify, that'll be the longer ones. And same thing with the description or a question in words. And then down here, you can moderate them. So basically, no one sees the video until you say it's good to go. And same thing, come down here, a bunch of just little things. We want them to do stickers or not. And basically update the topic, and it's ready to go. Sharing, nice and simple. You got the code or just actual link, or embed it and make it really simple. And there's hundreds of examples out there with other teachers wanting to share about FlipGrid and help everyone use it. So
Fantastic. Fantastic. You know, I've heard a lot about FlipGrid, but I actually haven't used it myself yet. And it was something that I was thinking, you know, next term, it's something I'm definitely going to use, especially now that it is free, because that was something that, you know, was stopping me. But just if you are going to use it, I know particularly in Australia, it is 13 plus, but up on the website, they do have a letter that you can just go out and get parental permission. And it's already, the template's already made for parents to sign and give approval for that, which is really, really handy. And yeah, really good, especially for those kids who sometimes, I know there's a lot of online sort of chat things where kids can add and write their feedback, but for many kids, it's a bit hard sometimes because they can't verbalize or talk about what it is. So this allows them, that video connects to a lot of learners, and it's really good. Has anyone else used it or have any examples? Emma, you have?
Yeah, I actually used it in my online master's course quite a lot, and it was a really fantastic way of connecting people together, and I could actually see it being really useful in those sort of cross collaborations across schools across the globe perhaps. And I'm really excited that Microsoft have taken this on board, so perhaps we might be able to use that with our under 13s with those new like sort of security and things around it. So I'm looking forward to looking into that. Thank you, John. It's exciting.
Perfect.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you go, John.
Yeah, we've used it to work with professionals as well, having questions go out to scientists and marine biologists, and then they come back to the class, responding to the class with their answers. And so it's really opened up a world.
Does he want to say hello?
He does. You want to say hi? He's been really good this whole time.
Now he's all shy. There we go.
Let's say hi.
Hi.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Adrian or Zeina, did you have anything have you used FlipGrid or want to say anything or ask any questions?
Yeah, no, I think you answered the questions about being 13 plus. I think we saw these great ideas for technology, and sometimes when you hit that roadblock, you just don't investigate further. So it's good to know that there's a workaround. And that's the same with Adobe now. You can do that. So that was news to me. Thanks for sharing. And the potential is huge. So I'm excited to take it forward now that it's free.
Yes, I know that's the biggest thing. I know that many teachers were using it and there was all this hype. And I remember when I first looked at it, I'm like, yeah, but you can only do one and then you have to really pay. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's a bit annoying because, you know, it's another program. And sometimes schools, they're like, we've already got so many things in place. We are not paying for something else that one or two teachers are going to use. So now that Microsoft has purchased it and it is free, it makes it so much easier for that one or two teachers who really want to embed technology and use a range of technologies. They can now, which is really cool. Perfect. Next up, we have got, I think it's actually me now that I'm saying that. Yes, it is me. So I will be sharing with everyone today a little project I've been working with our year sixes on this term as part of my role at my school. So I am just going to share my screen and ensure that it is all working. So Zeina, if you just want to tell me you can see my screen once I share it, then I know I am all good to go. I'm pretty sure it's this one. Can you see that? I think so. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you, Zeina. And I'll just start the timer. Alrighty. So I'm going to share with you sustainable houses using SamLabs. So earlier in the year, we actually had Joe, the creator and founder of SamLabs, on the show. So make sure you go back and check out his episode. It was the one in February. So it would have been 38 from memory. And he shared the basics of how to use SamLabs and what his company did and how they created it. So at my school, we've purchased the SamLabs classroom kit and STEM kit. And you can find out more about these kits on their website. I'm not going to go in too much about SamLabs. I'm going to talk about the project more. So what I did to begin with, I introduced the girls to SamLabs using the Curious Car game. So we spoke about SamLabs as having inputs and outputs. And so you can see here on this video, they start to play games. So you start to connect different devices like a button and a motor, and you start playing games online for them to understand how things work and how, you know, you can code and create things, and that everything has an input and an output. And Joe spoke about this on that episode earlier in the year. So it starts off being a game and a bit of fun, which I think is really good at engaging students and getting them interested in it to know how it works. The next step with what I did with my students was I set them little design challenges. So I showed them a few of the range of connectors, so the motor, the RGB light, the light sensor, and then we moved into the Sam Space app, which is a free app, works on all devices including computers, and also works on iPads. That's what we were using. And what the girls did was they connected it and started to make their own car. So from using the app where the car and the coding was already built in, they then had to create it themselves. Then the following week, I didn't give them any instruction, and I said, today you're going to design an ambulance. So they had to work out how to create sound. They had to work out how to create flashing lights. So we developed their skills of understanding and problem solving using the different commands in the app. So these are just some more photos of them problem solving, and you can see how messy some of their code got on their iPad, but it was also good for them to learn to experiment and work out the functions of the buttons. So it was quite funny when I went and looked at some, I was like, okay, I have no idea what is going on here. But for them, they were able to explain it, and then we could sort it out, and I could show them how to program and sort it out. The great thing with Sam Space is it starts off with this, but now it also moves into proper coding, JavaScript coding as well. And then what they did was we connected this unit to their sustainability unit. So they were looking at ways that we can be sustainable in the home, and they created their own home. So they had to design their home and incorporate SamLabs feature, which was something moving that had a sustainable enhancement to their home. So here you can see under the roof here, they have got a light sensor where a fan brings air. So when the sun is shining on the roof, it will rotate the fan inside. So they've used the SamLab parts and the motor to connect it. This one here, they have got a hydro water turbine thingy in the water here on their thing. So you can see in the video that when they move the slider, it spins the turbine. I'm just weary of time. This one here is a fan, like not a fan, a what's it called? Now I've lost the word. A windmill that brings sustainability and energy through the wind. So they were able to code that and create moving parts. The one on the right here has a moving curtain, and I didn't quite catch the video of it spinning up. So when the sun goes down, the curtain goes down. So then it keeps the house warm from the daily light. And here is another windmill outside in the yard. And I just have one more quick one. This group here designed a windmill, and it actually charges their energy efficient car. So as that spins, the light turns on to charge the car over under their carport, which is pretty cool. So that's the end of mine, and you can just see how you can incorporate SamLabs into a unit of work, a unit of inquiry, to really enhance it and take it further. So my Year 6 teachers were already doing it where they created the house, but this year we actually were able to enhance it by including SamLabs and the coding. So yeah, that's sort of what we were doing, which is pretty cool. Were there any questions or comments?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Just in terms of, it's more organised. I think it's a great idea how you've amplified an already deep learning experience, because sometimes we tell the kids to design sustainable features, but they're fake, or they just talk about them. They don't actually build them and create them. So I think that's awesome. Just because we were like in similar roles at my school, working in with teachers on projects like that, how did you organise yourself in terms of time that you gave the kids, in terms of how often you went in, and also resourcing? How do you organise the resourcing so every child gets a chance of doing that?
Yeah, so in our Year 6 class, we have got just on 50 girls, so 25 in each class. And what we did was the first week we had them all together, and I realised this is not going to work. There's just too many of them. So on a Thursday afternoon, that was the day I don't teach my Year 3 class and I've got my specialist role. So Thursday afternoons, we called it Tinker Time, and we had 2 periods. And in that time, I would come in, and also Michelle Dennis, who's presented on the show another time. So she would do something in the classroom, and then I would do something with SamLabs. So we would then switch over and we would connect it. So she would be doing something about the knowledge and the tinkering and designing process, and then I would do the actual hands-on things with a class, and we would switch. So we built it across the term. So we started off at the start of the term, and Michelle shared how we did 360-degree photos with ThingLink with them about their excursion. Then we sort of built that knowledge, and then the teachers took it on. In regards to the parts, obviously the project did have to change slightly. Last year they had the option to work in groups by themselves or groups of 3. Where just for parts, we worked out that each group was allowed a maximum of 4 SamLabs components. And in saying that, they had to be in groups of 4, 3 to 4. And then I just had a spreadsheet, and we said it was first in, best dressed. And of course, all the girls wanted a button, and there's not as many buttons in a kit. So we had to talk about how a light sensor also works like a button for that on and off when the light is there and the light is removed, and the settings within the features of how you can change things. So yeah, it was a bit of a tricky one, but it actually worked quite well in managing the parts and everything. Really exciting. And the teachers were a bit worried because they're like, we don't know how this all works. But in the end, you know, even the final bit where they had to code it, I actually only really needed to help 1 or 2 groups. They worked it out by themselves. And I said to them, you can't come to me and expect me to do it. I want you to actually show me that you've tried something first. And most of them were able to work it out or ask a group nearby to help as well, which was really good.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions? Nope. Perfect. We will keep moving. Next up, we have Adrian. And Adrian, I know you're sharing something that is one of your favorite things to do using Google Spreadsheets and Google Translate, correct?
Well, I don't know if it's my favorite thing to do, but I just find it fun. So I'll show you. Yeah.
Well, you're very good at it. And I always learn something interesting from you when you share your knowledge of sheets. So let me know when you're ready and I will start the timer.
Hopefully this is not going to produce a world of disappointment. So here we go.
Never.
Yeah, there we go. Right, boom. You should have a screen up there now. Does that look good?
Yep, perfect.
Yep, cool. Alrighty. So what I'm going to do is show you a simple thing inside Spreadsheets that uses Google Translate. A friend of mine flicked me a link to this from a guy called Jake Miller. And so I've just kind of grabbed it and thought, oh, how could I use this in the classroom? But in a spreadsheet, there's a whole lot of commands you can use, and I've got this one set up here. What I might do is I might see if I can make my screen a little bit bigger for you, so you can just wait a sec. Let me just go to about 125. How's that look? Is that a bit better?
Yep.
Cool. So now we've got an English whole lot of words here. What we want to do is we want to translate it into Spanish and French in our classroom. So the command that we use is equal. Now, believe it or not, it's Google Translate. How's that for a cool little word? And then all you have to do is say, okay, what word do I want to translate? Which is, I'm going to translate this word here, which is hello, which is in that cell A2. And then I want to tell it what language it is, and then what language to translate it into. So the code for English is EN. So it's in English, and now I want it to translate it to, I'm in Spanish, so Spanish is ES. And I go like that, and it will translate it into Spanish for me. How cool is that? So it takes the English word, translates it into Spanish. If I want to do it into French, believe it or not, I can do the same thing as well, using the same kind of code from Google Translate. I'm going to tell it what cell I want it to translate, which is that one there, A2. And then it's in English, so I've got to say it's in English. And then I want to put it into French, which is like that. Cool. And if I then go like that, I've got a lovely conversion from hello into French and Spanish. And if I want to copy those cells down, so it happens for a whole lot of words, I just highlight the cells and my little cursor will go to a cross button, and I can just drag that down, and then it will translate it for me as we go to be a certain language for me, which is pretty cool. Now, some English or language teachers get really upset about this because they think, oh, the kids are just going to use Google Translate and they're going to solve all the problems and they don't need to learn their language. However, if you chat to any English teacher, they're going to tell you that these translations here aren't as good as what happens in real life, which is excellent. So what you do is you say to the kids, okay, here's the machine that's translated it. What would you do to make it correct, and why is it wrong? So they've actually got to know the grammar, they've got to know the tenses and all those kind of things to actually correct it and explain what is wrong with it with this simple translation that just is done with a bit of code here. So it actually takes it to a different level for kids rather than becoming just copying and becoming lazy. Now, that's the easy way of doing it. But for me, I thought, well, hang on a tick, this is a bit boring because, or not a bit boring, a bit limiting because I've got to keep on entering in all the codes. So on the right-hand side of my screen here, well, come back, just here are all the codes that we've got. And so there are all the languages it can translate into. There's a whole stack more, but I didn't put them in there because it will take up pages. But anything inside Google Translate will work this way. So what I thought was, wouldn't it be easier if I could just enter a word, and tell it what language it is, and then what language it to translate into. So I thought that would be better than typing in all this code. So
1 minute.
Here comes the nerdy stuff. So what I did was I set up a spreadsheet that looks like this, and I put in some drop-down boxes that have all the languages we've got. So I choose what language I'm writing in, and then in here I choose what language I want it to convert to, being very clever. So if I type in, say, how are you here, I'll put it in English because I don't know any other language. I want to translate it to, say, Italian. I just pull that drop down and it changes it to Italian for me. And the way I do it is by using this cool little code here. Now that's going to be a bit upsetting for you, but just trust me, it looks really cool. What it's doing is, it's not bringing it up big for me. It's looking at the table across here. And depending on what I type into the first cell, it grabs the letter from there and then makes it translate automatically for me. So your kids have built an automatic translator for you. So in under 4 minutes to show you how to do that is a bit limiting, but I'll share it with you guys and you can run with it and play with it in your classroom. There you go. Boom, I'm done.
Wow. That is pretty cool. I was just thinking, sometimes with spreadsheets, I sometimes get annoyed because the code never works for me, but the way you've done it shows me that it works really well. Now, I know you're probably not going to be able to do it quickly, Adrian, but how did you create that drop-down box?
Very simple. It's cool. It's in data,
yeah.
In data validation inside Google's apps and G Suite tools of spreadsheets, and it says I want a list from a range over here. So I just click on that and highlight all the letters I've got there. See how I'm highlighting on the right hand side? That's my list of letters. Drop it off and go OK, and then go save. And now I've got a drop down list of all the things that are in that list across there.
So easy.
So easy.
Yeah.
And what I tend to do also is I tend to try to put a couple of spaces down the bottom. Because if I then want to add anything in, then automatically it comes into this list across here if I want it as well. Just a little quick programming hint.
You've just saved me like so much time now, because I can think of many things I can do now. So thank you, Adrian. If you want to just stop sharing, because I'm pretty sure you're going to have some questions. Did anyone else have any questions for Adrian?
I was impressed, but I'm still overwhelmed. I just can't grasp. I just don't. It's too organized in boxes, letters, and numbers. But you've inspired me to go and play now that there's more features with language that I can work with. So
also because of the
like it.
The Australian digital curriculum, you've got to do that kind of stuff as well. Yeah, if and else statement. So that's kind of built into it. And if you can incorporate it in the language, then you're addressing the digital curriculum plus the language plus getting the kids to understand what they're learning at a high level. So
that's right. It's a good one. I liked it.
Yeah, no, thank you, Adrian. Were there any other questions or comments?
I have a comment. I maybe an idea more. I like how you said, the English teachers don't like, because that's not really how it sounds once it translates. And I know enough Spanish to carry on a conversation, to tell someone what I need, but not really follow any grammar rules at all. And I tell my students, because I have a lot of Spanish-speaking students, and then other students from India. So there's a lot of languages going on. And I tell them it's like Tarzan Spanish. So it's just like me Tarzan, you Jane. And that's basically how I speak. So it'll be nice to translate into that and then have the students say, okay, how can we make this actually grammatically correct in their language? And then have those students that really don't speak English very well have the power to help them out in their own language. So it's exciting. I'm going to be playing with that next year.
Yeah, that's a great idea what you've just said, John, because I know here in Australia we have a lot of students coming from China. So and I find it really hard, especially when they don't speak a word of English and you get them in your classroom, and sometimes simple things like where's the toilet, I always use Google Translate, because it's the first way I can actually communicate with the kids to know what they want and help them out in any way. And even with the writing in Google Translate, I know I'm going a bit off topic now, Adrian, but you can, for some of my kids, I have them write in Chinese and I then hover my phone over the top and I can sort of try to work out part of their writing and what they're saying. So it's really, really handy, I think. And it's only going to get better, I think, with the way technology is going. So really cool. Thank you for that. Now, we're nearly at the end of the show. We have got one more presenter, and Zeina, you are up next. So let me know when you are ready, and I will start the timer.
Okay, give me a sec. If you guys know me, you know I don't know how to do anything in 4 minutes, so I'm really struggling here.
That's all right. I'll just cut you off.
I know you will. You'll do that really well. Okay, can you guys see my screen now?
Yep, perfect.
Excellent. Okay.
Off you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. So today I'm a little bit excited to share with you something that I stumbled across accidentally. We're working with a group of enrichment children, and we're talking about robotics and data and artificial intelligence and machine learning. And even for myself as a digital technologies teacher, I'm still getting my head around the implications of that for us. So I did a bit of a Google search and I came across this really cool website called Experiments with Google, and it explains it in really simple and practical terms what AI is and the capacity and potential for machine learning. So rather than try and explain it to you, I've got a cute little 1.43 second video. Then I've got 2 experiments that I'm going to share with you that'll explain in detail what artificial intelligence, machine learning is, and the implications for us to learn through play and gamification in education.
Zeina, you might just have to pull your headphones out because we just can't hear it.
And play around with tools and technology, it gets better for everyone. Recently, this has been happening with artificial intelligence, especially with machine learning. Lots of people are getting involved, exploring speech, language, image recognition, and more. And that work is being applied in helpful ways. In something like Google Photos, you can now just type dancing to find all your pictures of dancing. But if you're curious and want to play with this stuff, and you're poking around things like this, trying to understand how it all works, it can be pretty intimidating. That's why we've created a site called AI Experiments. It's a showcase for simple, hands-on experiments that show how machine learning can make sense of all kinds of things, like sound, language, music, live video, everyday objects, drink, even in different languages, and your messy doodles.
I see flying pen or whale. Oh, I know, it's snowman.
For each experiment, there's a simple video explainer by the people who made it. There are links to open source code to make it easier for others to make new experiments, and people can submit what they make. All of this is an effort to make this technology more accessible to everyone: engineers, hobbyists, students, anyone who's curious. This way, anyone can get inspired to start making things with machine learning. So come and start playing at g.co/AI experiments.
Okay, so for me, that video explains the essence of artificial intelligence, but I'll just plug my headphones back in. What I wanted to share with you were 2 experiments that I've shared with my class. As you know, I love to sketchnote, and we've been trying to introduce that into our classrooms. We're a PYP school, and the students are often bombarded with lots of information. So I've been trying to use sketchnote to help them
1 minute.
Organize their thoughts, organize their thinking, and pull together their knowledge. A lot of the times our kids have told us, I don't know how to draw, and they don't have the creative confidence to develop those skills. So I stumbled across Quick Draw, and I'm just going to go straight into launching it. It's a game where the neural net connects all the data and basically predicts what you're trying to draw. I introduced this to the children as a way of introducing sketchnoting, and that everyone can draw, and your doodles look like everyone's doodles in the world, and how even machines are trying to interpret and understand shapes and images in the world. So I'm going to show you an example of this. I'll take out my plugs, and you start drawing. No judgment on my drawings, okay?
I see diving board, or square, or radio, or suitcase. I see television. Oh, I know, it's birthday cake.
Yay, okay, got it, bicycle.
I see circle. I see bluebird, or binoculars, or motorbike. Oh, I know, it's bicycle. I see diving board. Oh, I know, it's stairs.
Yes, I'm getting better at this. Bear with me, guys. I want to show you the 6 out of 6 of what feedback it gives the kids. Next, what does it ask for?
Mailbox.
Oh, okay.
I see toe, or lock, or shoe, or snail, or saxophone, or popsicle. I see lollipop, or flamingo, or alarm clock, or satellite. Sorry, I couldn't guess it. I see squiggle, or zigzag. Oh, I know, it's camel.
Yes! Okay, all right, this is the feedback I want you to see because, okay, I'm going to draw the shoe.
I see circle, or bracelet, or frying pan, or butterfly. I see fan, or fish.
It's a shoe, mate.
Oh, I know, it's shoe.
Okay, all right, now this is the feedback that I like. So this is when you can have that conversation about machine learning. Our neural net figured out 5 of your doodles. It saw something else in the other. Select one to see what it saw and visit the data to see 50 million drawings made by other real people on the net. So I'm going to look at mailbox and see what other people drew. And so machine learning is all about giving, it's a subset of artificial intelligence. It's about giving the machine access to all the data and for it to come up with its own learning based on the data that it received. So it's a great little tool to have a conversation about AI, machine learning. But for me, it was a big win for creative confidence. Our students saw all these other pictures and all these other doodles and were like, you know what, that's okay. I'm going to develop my own sketching style. And I even caught teachers at lunchtime playing this in the staff room. So it's been a hit with everybody.
Thank you, Zeina. And I know that Quick Draw is fantastic. And when I was over actually in Amsterdam, presenting with Google on the new Chrome tablet, I actually got to speak to one of the developers, and he was telling me a bit more about how all the AI works with this. And it's really interesting the way that even from, there's another app that Google have, which is,
the auto draw?
Yeah, auto draw. And
that was my one that I was going to show you, but I just got carried away.
Yeah, no, that's all right. So auto draw actually incorporates quick draw, and they use that same AR technology. So from everyone in the public's drawing there, it actually helps from quick draw, it creates into auto draw, which is really, really handy. And they've actually incorporated this technology now into Jamboard as well, which is a free app, which we've had a few people share on the show. And it just takes it that next step, and it's pretty cool. I know sometimes when my kids have come in at recess time and there's been an issue on the playground, and of course it happens right when the bell goes, and you as a teacher sometimes think, great, that was fantastic, now I have to deal with it and we could really do some learning. I then can pretty much say, all right, girls, go off, do some quick draw, and it keeps them busy. And then while I sort out the problem, and it's also them learning and articulating and improving their drawing skills for sketchnoting and everything else.
I've loved auto draw because often you can download it into different formats, and I've had a lot of younger kids create their own life cycle books for in Book Creator, and they just can't draw, and they can't, by the time we take the photo of their drawing, upload it. So auto draw's been a blessing for that, because you can insert the image and share the link in numerous ways. So that was my other one, but thanks for sharing it. I got it out there.
Yeah, no, perfect. If you want to just stop sharing your screen, then we can ask everyone if they've got any questions. And I know that it's, there's so many great things with this AI coming out and predicting what we need. I know even when I'm looking for photos that I've taken in my camera roll, and I can just search dog, and all the photos of my dog Harvey come up, which makes it so easy when you want to show someone something, you can just search it and it comes up. Now, were there any other questions for Zeina? No, we're all good today. But huge thank you to everyone joining us on our fourth birthday episode. It was really exciting to have you all here. I know Adrian, he dropped out, so he apologized that he couldn't say goodbye at the end. Internet problems, which is always the best first world problem. I'm just going to share with everyone again the voting slide, so make sure you do vote for your favorite presenter, and we will announce this later in the week. And a huge thank you to all our presenters for coming on and sharing. And as I said, if you have any questions or anything you want to ask them, please just reach out, and if you can't get in contact with them, let me know and I'll set up an email for you. And if you have anything you'd like to share on the show, or know of someone who would love to share something, please let me know. Would love to get them on, or even showcase you on our Educators of TeachTechPlay. Or if you've got a blog post you'd like to write, let me know. Just be in contact, because this is about connecting the community. And yeah, we've always got room on the show, whether if it's not the next month but the one after. I'm always looking for presenters. So let me know if you've got something you'd like to share. But on behalf of myself and everyone today, huge thank you for tuning in, and hope to see you next month. See you guys. Bye.